Hello everybody! This is of course the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time for another delightful, fantastic and fabulous tarot show. Yes, the video quality has gone down just a little because I'm using my mobile phone camera, because my regular camera has decided that it's finally giving up the ghost. So obviously somewhere in the astral realm there is a representation of my camera flying around so that all of the wonderful dead people can have the use of an excellent top quality digital camera. Meantime, you've probably got slightly better quality audio volume on this, which is going to be brilliant for you. Now, as is traditional, you can request a tarot reading to have for your very self. Okay, you can have it free of charge because here on the Tarot Show, which is on the Nick Dutch Tarot YouTube channel, you are free to request your readings for free, and you can do that through sending me an email through, not a private message, not in the comment section, naughty, okay, an email through to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. That's the place to send it through to, and I'll be more than happy to add you to the rotor and all that kind of like cool stuff. Questions can be about relationships, family, friendship, work and careers. I don't touch medical matters, pregnancy or childbirth under any circumstances. So there are some other minor issues that I don't touch as well. And also remember that legally speaking, a tarot reading is regarded as being an entertainment service for good common sense reasons. You are still the final decision maker in your life. Okay, but without further ado, let's crack on with the first reading of today. Whilst you're thinking about what wonderful emails you're going to send through to me and what inquiries you're going to inquire about. Okay, just a quick one for Amanda. Let's have a quick look about the relationship between yourself and your father. Now, remember what I've told you about tarot readings in the past? Let's have a quick look and see basically what the reading says today. I'll show you the cards bit by bit. I can't do quite what I did before, but never mind, I'll still hold the cards up as I will, get them out. This is the first two. Okay? And those are the two on your side of the reading. This is the second two on his side of the reading. And here's the one for the forces between the two of you. Because I'm using a relationship style to do the interpersonal relationship between yourself and your father. And then short-term, mid-term, long-term, future. Okay. So if you think about it, on your side of the reading, strife and struggle, yes, communication happening, but is it necessarily positive? It's very difficult to say, taking into account the dynamics between yourself and your father. Alright? Now, the forces between the two of you, looking like there is a sense of there being some kind of bond there. I mean, it's not just a familial bond, it's a sense of him actually wanting to try and do what's right, but basically not being sure how to do that. He's someone who's got a lot of troubles. I mean, on his side of the reading, if you think about it, it's come out with the Devil card, which often speaks about powerlessness, or a feeling of feeling under a lot of pressure. And that's probably one of the reasons that he's had to make some of the decisions which he's had to do. So that can be to do with people who he's known or people who he's been struggling with, who've basically been like a little undesirable or a bit too difficult for him to deal with, if you get my drift. And also a sense of personal failure. Alright, so there's lots of dark energy about him at the moment. I don't feel he's necessarily the one who's 110% responsible for a lot of the bad things that's happened. But I do think that he's probably behaved a little badly, taking into account the way that things have been for him. And I think you need to try and see it inside yourself to forgive him, because he's someone who's suffered an awful lot himself, and I think he's done things which he himself is not very proud of in order to try and set things right. So it'll be a difficult connection between you and him anyway. Short-term, mid-term and long-term future, yeah, there's a sense of him still trying to be a member of your family, but there's also distance there as well. I don't think he'll ever get totally close, but he's going to try and become slightly better, but he's also going to hold on to some of his old ways, which is not necessarily all that totally positive. I would just let him be, try and be friendly with him, but you don't have to be as close to him as some other people in the world might want you to be or might suggest you should be. Okay, Stay Beautiful has requested a reading with reference to love and all the rest of that cool stuff. Just giving the cards a quick shuffle. Obviously, it's slightly better for you having this this camera set up, because now you can actually see my hands when I'm shuffling. because you can see more of me, which is obviously very good. But I'm looking at the screen with my face on it, which is, comparatively speaking, there, but that's where the actual camera lens is down there, so it's going to look like I'm looking a little off kilter slightly, but don't worry about that, even though it might seem a little disconcerting. But anyway, on with the reading. We'll see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that are going to appear for you today. Right, chronological spread, that means I'm doing it in order, basically, bit by bit. So, you know, the camera angle is quite good in some ways because you can see more kind of thing. Had to use rather a lot of blue tack to fit the camera in place, but that's another story. Right, best love signs have come through about here, which is the fantastic and amazing Two of Cups. That does talk about a relationship life which is actually going to work out according to plan and feels very good and feels very happy. Now, this chronological spread goes up to a year. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't cover the next, like, 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. So for a card to appear basically bang in the middle, that's suggesting, like, within, let's say, 6 months. I tend to give pessimistic time frames, so it could happen basically a bit sooner, if you get my drift, alright? But it looks like it's slowly moving you in the right direction. The progress in the short term and mid term, though, I think that's rather weird, because you got signs of a very strong male character appearing there for you. That's the very first card which is turned up, taking into account you're asking about love. It's obviously quite important. But then after that, you've got a sense of there being, you know, some communication, but maybe going a bit cold or a bit stale or a bit prickly somehow, as if this is someone who's going to get a little defensive and difficult. But there's still a feeling of like some kind of celebratory energy that they are coming out with, which will, of course, make you feel, oh, you know, there's something positive here. So I get the feeling this could be a connection that will be starting earlier in the year, but it's going to be so like hot and cold, does he, doesn't he, sort of thing, that you're not going to be able to just like settle down and just like get into the whole experience of the relationship until basically a little further on down the line. But it does look to me as if that stage further on down the line is actually happening for you without basically any doubt at all. Moving further forward, this is still focusing on the area of romantic energy. The feeling of progression that the reading is giving me is actually rather curious, because we've got a sense of trying to keep your mind focused happening after this time when this relationship works out right. Why would that be? This relationship when it starts, this connection when it starts, is going to be okay, but it's going to be hot and cold. Because of that, I think you're going to try and invest your heart a bit too early in this particular relationship. If you do that, it could actually get a bit difficult for you, because you won't necessarily be able to just like chill out and go with the flow and observe this person objectively. What you will be doing is thinking, oh, you know, is it there, is it not there, is it there, is it not there? And this is not someone who's going to get totally close to you straight away. This is someone who's going to maintain their distance, maybe not communicate, maybe not reach out, maybe not actually will always be there. So you're not necessarily going to be happier in the earlier days, but once you're finally settled and you think, yes, this is a relationship, then you're going to be able to start focusing in on other aspects of your goals. And maybe that's why we've got a reiteration and re-echo of the love signs, but in a slightly different, more, you know, all-embracing kind of a way. So it looks very interesting as far as your romantic side of things is concerned. I just knock you out a quick spread for, let's say, the career and or financial side of things, and see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that's going to appear for you today. Oh, I really should try putting that little phrase to a tune or something, you know, I mean, that would actually work out much nicer. Okay, we do have your financial signs coming through, not too far down the line. The full spread, the way it's come out, in order. Boom, there you go. So your first card, making sure you maintain your balance and your equilibrium as far as the world of work and life is concerned. So that suggests to me something which feels like a feeling of distance between yourself and the world of work, so to speak, which might make you feel, you know, is everything actually okay? Is everything really working out according to plan? Why would there be a feeling of distance between yourself and work? Why have you got a problem with work? Why aren't you settling in? Your financial signs are there. That's when you know, a little further on down the line, just a couple of months further on down. So it could be a new opportunity, but the reading is not saying, bam, a new opportunity. It's not coming out with that literal, a new opportunity feeling, almost as if you're just like settling into something. Something is just offered to you, which you just happen to be able to do. It's like placed there for you. And although, you know, do exercise caution when something looks a bit too good to be true, be welcoming when something positive is occurring for you. Alright? Now, I would say that you've got more studying to do. I've got academic science coming in further on down the line, almost as if you're returning back to school for something, which is quite interesting. But it's a question of how are you going to use it, what are you going to use it for. So be wise when you come to that time. And I think you'll probably be able to, use the information you're going to get your hands on in a much more positive way. So that's actually looking quite good. Okay, Kathleen O. You did ask about your health, but I don't read upon medical matters, or pregnancy, or childbirth, okay? I don't read upon your health situation at all, because that's wrong. There are people in this industry who actually do that sort of thing. Well, I don't. So let's have a quick look and see, because you did ask about your wealth as well, didn't you? Let's see what kind of thing is appearing there for you. Yes. At the moment already, although you don't necessarily realize that you're in a better position of stability than you think you are, this reading is talking about stability, so it's very strong on the Earth message. If you think about it this way, you got the Prince of Discs there, very earthy, very heavy, very focused, very down to earth, and that's actually looking really rather interesting. The sensation I'm getting as far as moving into the longer term future is concerned, that's also a sense of happiness and satisfaction, but that's not necessarily, okay, we're stable now, okay, we can pay the bills, we can keep ourselves fed, keep ourselves clothed, keep ourselves clean, and all that kind of stuff. It's not that kind of feeling which we're getting like earlier on in the reading. It's more a question of, ooh, this is quite nice, I can splash out a bit, I can treat myself once in a while. That kind of message is coming for you later on down the line within this year. So I'm saying November, December time, things are going to start picking up just a touch in time for probably Christmas, New Year. Then after that, January, February, you'll carry on seeing the tide of abundance steadily flowing through your life still further. It's not there yet, no, but at the moment I think what the reading is suggesting to me is you need to be grateful for small mercies, you need to be grateful for things which have done you good and are going to carry on doing you good for all the rest of the time, basically. So look after yourself and think smaller at the moment, but reach out bigger. Try and develop a bigger career. But at the moment, think small about the things which are around you. Don't lust after things which are outside of your current sphere, if you get my drift. Okay, we got someone called Jay who wants to know about work because they've just lost their job. Lots of people are losing their jobs at the moment. It's a bit like, the way things are right now. Just like the economy is bad, people are not as happy as they could be, there's less quantities of money around in the world. So yes, there's a lot of that about. Okay, so you need to look after yourself, keep yourself basically focused upon where you want to go. But let's see what the reading says, because you didn't want to hear me blabble on, did you? You wanted me to tell you precisely what the reading's saying about your working life in the future. And this is rather interesting. Once again, we got one of those situations. You see me shuffle, I was shuffling like a lunatic. But again, we get the Prince of Discs coming out. Okay, you can see that one more time. There you go. A bit of a close-up shot of one of the most well-worn tarot cards of all time. Wizened is the word I like to use rather than worn normally, but there you go. And again, that's a question of stability. How it's moving further out into the future is rather interesting, because the reading is telling me that you need to have a different, a change of heart and a change of attitude. The Fool card can actually speak about foolhardiness, but it can also speak about changing your perspective so that you avoid thinking about things which are too difficult, too damaging, or too detrimental. Are you the kind of individual who immerses yourself in all the more complex news stories which are out there in the world? I mean, I know that I fall prey to that as well once in a while, but I get the impression you're doing that a lot more, because I've got some other signs here which I don't feel are prophetic. Okay, I don't feel that's prophetic. We got sorrow, we got cruelty, we got a sense of the world is coming in on yourself. But is it coming in on yourself because you are making it come in on yourself, because you're thinking a bit negatively, because you're looking at all the weird stuff that's happening in the world, and you're thinking don't be so paranoid. Don't be so fearful. You don't need to. You need to think about what will actually affect you in the here and now, and moving your life further forward. And I think that's one of the reasons why we got the Four of Discs coming out there. The Four of Discs portrays itself like a fortress, and that is a very real sense of protection, or protecting yourself. You do have to be aware of the power of the media which you are consuming. Okay, so think carefully about that. But generally speaking, your reading is actually a little more positive than you might think. Okay, we got someone who identifies himself as 7243 for some unknown reason. And they want to have a look at their relationship life. So, okay, 7243. Would you rather I called you 43 or 72? Either way, here we go. It was quite a complex relationship the way you described it to me. Let's have a quick look. Okay, here we go. Signs on your side of things. Again, signs of strife and struggle, but also a sense of singularity and focus. You came into this relationship with a feeling of, there's some specific things that I want to get out of it. And there's been, you've been thinking to yourself, yes, I'm going to try and make sure it's going to become manifest in that particular way. But you're not dealing with someone who's like that. You're dealing with someone who's basically got a different emotional perspective, and it's more in terms of sensitivity. They want action, they want passion, but they're also a more sensitive character as well. So are you necessarily approaching this individual in the right way, with the right kind of energy? That's something that I think you should ask yourself. Forces between the two of you, yes, very victorious, very happy, very definitely communication orientated yet again. So you're going to be able to work through this one particular rough patch, but you can only do so if you are aware of the fact that you have difficulties between the two of you, and you want to try and generate something bigger and better. Let's have a quick look, short-term, mid-term, long-term, future, and see what kind of like message we're going to get there for you. Okay, brilliant. Those are the cards, that's what we got there. Yeah, there is a sense of there being some interference there, but that's not going to be too much of a worry, because earlier on you got love and you got romance signs in that particular order. So you're going to deal with a problem. You're going to make sure it works out right. All of the problems and all the issues of the past will not be got rid of. Okay, it won't all be got rid of. It won't all go away like magically overnight. Some of it will be lingering along in the background, which is going to be hard for you. But you'll need to apply acceptance when you start thinking about these more negative signs, the more negative messages coming into your life. Because those are the ones which will, they have the capacity to trip you up. Okay, we can be tripped up by lots of things in life, but sometimes it's the small things which you need to work on emotionally. I mean, it's not necessarily the problems you've got in your life, but the problem in your life is often yourself, the way that you think. Okay, what goes on up here and in here, and how that can affect like the bigger picture. So, do go back to your prayer and meditation to try and bring more positivity into your mind, and then that can then start to manifest itself within your life. And also do something nice to yourself. You did say in your private message that you were really, sorry, not private message, in the email, that you were really like, keeping yourself like to yourself and not going out much. And sometimes that's a good thing. Seriously, that can be a good thing, especially when you consider how crazy people in the world are. But on the other hand, join something, become a part of something, a club, a church, something that gives you that extra je ne sais quoi that you need to in order to be happy. Okay, little lollipop, you got another relationship inquiry for me. Okay, so let's have a quick look and see what kind of thoughts, feelings, and all the rest of that are going to appear for you today. Standard temperature and pressure, here we go, here we go. Try and do as much shuffling as I can. An old deck needs to be shuffled a little more to make sure you get the full randomness. That's the way it seems to be. And of course, cutting, turning, all these things are important for all you budding tarot readers out there. Let's have a quick look. Okay, forces between the two of you, conflict. The cards on your side of things, isolation. You're dealing with someone who has a good feeling of connection with yourself. You don't want to throw it away. So you've got to think to yourself, what can you do to not throw away the problems that you've got between yourself and this one particular individual? The problems are brought about by the way in which you see this character, and the way in which you're talking, the way in which you're communicating, and how you're making things happen, basically. But that feeling of conflict will essentially steadily ebb away without the shadow of a doubt. Now let's have a quick look, short-term, mid-term, and long-term future. There we go. Short-term future. Once again, signs of balance and equilibrium. Mid-term future. Something to do with love. And also a feeling of getting extra knowledge. It's almost as if this person was brought into your life so that you can get a better feeling of knowledge and understanding from what it means to be a part of someone or something which has a few issues associated with it. This feeling is not bad, it's not negative, but it's also not necessarily the happiest one you actually had to go through. Think to yourself, what do you have to learn? What do you have to slow back on? What is it that you are doing wrong here? And yes, you are doing something wrong, because my reading is saying that you are. You need to get that extra knowledge, which is going to appear for you in the longer term future. It's something to do with the way in which you're dealing with someone who's different to yourself, and you've got conflict there. Is there blaming going on? And if there is, stop it. Seriously, stop it. You know, it's not helping you. Because there could be a great future there for you, but you don't want to throw it away. You want to make what you've got stronger. That's essentially, or should be, you know, one of your main goals when it comes to a relationship of this type. Alright? So, you know, be aware of that, work towards your goals. But you're another one who needs to work on the inside, so that it can then manifest in the outside world. Okay, we've got someone called Sanjay here who's curious about their career, just started a new job and wants to make sure it's going to go according to plan. Okay, here we go. Chronological. Looking over a 12-month period. And yeah, it's not looking too bad. There's no real signs of destruction, no real signs of negativity. A few challenges, okay, because even after the 12 months are up, you got signs of worry and anxiety, but why aren't they coming earlier on in the reading? That's the question that I would basically be asking. Let's have a quick look at the whole spread. There you go. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So for your second card, that's a bad one. Okay, Five of Swords, upright, that's bad. That feels like you're going to be given a few challenges you're not going to do too well on. But again, that's there because the organization is trying to grow you into the organization. You got into this job quite early in life. So essentially, they're aware that there's some aspects of your upbringing which needs to be continued in the workplace to turn you into a good corporate character, which is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. You're not having your willpower or your free will taken away from you. They're just trying to sculpt you into what is required in terms of character for the environment. So be aware of that. But then again, your midterm future signs, as I've already shown you, financial. Okay, so the challenge comes first and the financial reward comes afterwards, which is great. Still, you'll feel like you are alone with your responsibilities, but on the other hand, carry on searching towards the goal. This is a job which is going to lead to a career. The career is going to lead to something good. And after 12 months, you've got the worry signs there because you're going to be promoted. That's the way it appears to me. So it's only going to take you 1 year for you to get to a position which is going to give you a feeling of self-esteem and success and achievement, which I think is brilliant. Okay, we've got an inquirer here who's curious about their music career, just starting to sell their own homemade music basically over the internet and over, via eBay and other forms of cool technology. Let's have a quick look and see basically what's coming on through there for you. A music career is quite a hard one, but you've chosen it, you know the score, you've told me already the various things you've been through, so let's just see that whether this is the moment where you're going to really launch yourself further forward. And yes, we've got some great signs of happiness. Yes, you might think it's a bad sign, but no, the lightning struck tower can sometimes be good because it's talking about turning your life upside down. It's a bolt from the blue. Okay, it's a sense of change of direction, and that's why I feel again we got more signs relating to satisfaction, joy, happiness, that warm feeling. But coming out of something a little difficult. So you told me about your past, you told me about what was happening and the issues you've been through in the workplace. So I can see that this is going to be a lot easier for you, emotionally speaking, but not in terms of the fact you're still, creating something new and something bigger and something better with the passage of time. Progression here, I would say very interesting, very good. Again, that same castle, fortress message, protected, and you're protecting yourself because you're using what you know in order to try and help yourself out, which I think is wonderful. Okay, we got a singer now. We've had a musician, we now got a singer. But this is someone who's moving out of the performing arts world and into, funnily enough, accountancy. Quite a lot of career questions today. I wonder why that is. Let's have a quick look and see basically what the reading is saying about that. Bear with me a second, please. The reading is portraying you literally as the Hierophant itself, which is the individual who has all the wisdom and all the authority and is therefore instructing other people. So it's a feeling of being in a higher position. Strangely enough, when you were doing your self-employed singing work, the things you learned about managing money and being self-employed is somehow going to translate to being an accountant. Maybe you're going to be doing it self-employed. People will come to you because of the extra wisdom that you've got. And in that particular respect, it's going to be quite interesting and quite powerful. I just show you that card there, just so you know. Just so you know, that's basically you. That is okay. That card is an expression of yourself being the wise one that other people will come to, bringing about a change of direction. I love the Two of Coins. I seriously love the Two of Coins. Every time it comes up, there's a new meaning there to do with transformation, organic progression. So you're not changing in your nature, you're just changing some of the background scenery to suit what is required, if you get my drift. Okay, but also the Two of Coins is a change of financial fortune as well, which is obviously something else to bear in mind as you're moving into basically a new life. Okay, now we have a lovely 85-year-old young lady who's curious about the relationship with the man next door. Apparently they're getting on very well, having tea together and all kinds of other fun stuff. So let's have a quick look and see what's going on there. Bear with me a second, please. Alright, I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how young you are, so long as you're over the age of 18, okay? You know, you can still get a tarot reading on the Tarot Show. Remember, of course, I do this for a living via nickdutch.co.uk. Now, the main message I've got here, absolutely wonderful, looking very good. Stability and consistency, because this is someone who's, obviously, you've both got a great quantity of life experience. You're dealing with someone who's got a lot of life experience as well. And there's a feeling of there being some victory on your side of things. You're already working out pretty hard. You've already told me about the recipe you're doing for that jam tart thing. I think he's going to like it, especially when you have your next appointment together, that next bit of time when you're basically sorting stuff out and making things work out according to plan. Short-term, mid-term, and long-term future, yeah. You could be together for the rest of, for the rest of time. It feels very positive from my point of view. So I like what I'm seeing. Often we get entrepreneurs coming to the Tarot Show. Now we got someone who is designing something, designing a new form of filing system. No, not a filing system like a filing cabinet. That's the kind of filing system I understand. It's like a computer, high-tech sort of like stuff. And he's going to like discuss it with people who are involved in the right kind of like software, architecture-y type complex above my head, basically, stuff which is like, stuff which is beyond what I'm capable of dealing with. But what I'll do is I'll tell you what my reading says about that, and we'll see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that going to appear. Someone write me a tune for that, okay? No, don't do that. That would be really boring. Alright. That's looking okay, pretty happy. You got some good signs coming for you. The sense of using this technology in a positive way and helping other people to use it well is coming through quite nicely. You've been very driven by passion and drive. This is something you actually feel quite, quite good about. You've been studying this stuff for a long time and you want to try and achieve an awful lot for other people. You're upset with the way things have been, technologically speaking. You want to make sure it's all going to happen right. This is looking good. Yeah, I personally have got no worries for you at all. Okay, one more relationship inquiry. This will be the last one we'll be doing of today. Remember, get your inquiries through to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. We'll just see basically what's going to happen for you. Okay, well, Joy, you're looking quite successful, because that's the energy between the two of you. Cards on their side of things, a very spiritual sense of connection, very down to earth. And also, you've been through the mill. Be careful, Joy, okay? Because I get the feeling you want to try and use this relationship to make everything better, or to make you all better. It doesn't always work like that, okay? It doesn't always work according to plan. I think you need to be philosophical about that possibility. Alright, so come into the relationship, yes. Build it, yes. But don't expect it to be the healing force. And get yourself some counselling as well. That would be the best solution for you. Okay? Okay, well, that will be the last reading of today. I do hope you've enjoyed the show. If you've got any further requests, then please send them through to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to add you to the rota. Remember, a tarot reading, mediumistic reading, and all the rest of that is legally sold as being an entertainment service for good, common sense reasons. Okay, and sometimes it's just a great opportunity to talk. So get your requests through, and I look forward to seeing you next time on The Tarot Show with Nick Dutch.